This is the 2019 Audi RS5 Sportback. Now you might be wondering, it's 2021, why is this a 2019? Well, there's one very good reason. Some people claim that Audis, their build quality isn't at the same level as Mercedes and BMW, so we opted to a slightly used one to see how it's been holding up. This specific car has just under 20,000 kilometers, has almost 19,000. So let's see if there's any wear and tear and how the interior is holding up on top of the actual car. Now, there are not a lot of differences between the 2019 and the 2021. There has been a facelift. It's mostly the infotainment that has changed, but we'll go over everything in detail. Let's go. First of all, the car is stunning in person. Photos just aren't able to do it justice. In real life, from any angle, this is just so good looking. It has a massive grille in the front, but it's very well executed. I really do like these headlights, even though they have been updated for 2021. I love the Quattro badge on the bumper right underneath the plate. That's how you know this is an RS car. Although in the new car, they've removed it. It has massive 6-piston front brakes that also work very well. You can also option it with carbon ceramics if you're a track kind of guy. This one has aftermarket wheels, but even the OEM wheels look really good. It has lovely body lines along the side and a very good looking butt, especially with this carbon package with a nice little spoiler on the top and the diffuser on the bottom. And look at those exhaust pipes. They actually sound as good as they look. The burbles and crackles and pops are coming from a 2.9-liter V6 twin-turbo engine, which is the same one used in, for example, the Porsche Macan GTS and Turbo, and it makes 444 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. It also has the non-BS Quattro system. There's no Haldex stuff here. This one has proper Torsen differentials, and in the back, it has an LSD, which they call a sport differential. You can even electronically control it, which is really cool. The gearbox is an 8-speed automatic with a torque converter, ZF-sourced, very good transmission, well-tuned, snappy. The paddle shifters kind of let it down, not in the sense, not how they work, it's more how they feel. They are typical plasticky stuff. I don't know, the new one, they're supposed to have improved them a bit, but still, they ain't the greatest. I mean, they could bring like the really big, nice aluminum paddle shifters from like other models, like the Urus or, other Lamborghinis, since they're related. By default, it sends 60% of the power to the rear, but it can do up to 85%, while it can send up to 75% to the front. So it's pretty flexible as how this Quattro system works. The engine is mounted in front of the front axle, typical Audi. That does make it a little bit nose heavy, but with the very good Quattro system, should it be a problem? I don't think so, but let's find out. The RS5 gets a wider track compared to the lesser models, and this one also has the dynamic dampers that can stiffen up in dynamic mode, but can also, most importantly, loosen up in comfort. So it's nice and soft around town. Put the car in dynamic mode, gearbox in sport, disable the traction control, hold the car down with a brake, build up some boost, and when it reaches the max, you're good to launch. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour comes in 3.9 seconds, which is exactly the number Audi claims. So good job there, for being honest. Best part of all is the soundtrack. I mean, I just love the soundtrack this engine produces. The exhaust note is crazy good, and I like how it relieves itself every time you upshift. It's like, fart, brrr, fart, brrr, fart, brrr. It's pretty funny. The paddle shifters might feel a bit cheap, but they are very satisfying to use in terms of what they do. So upshifts and downshifts happen really quickly. Even when you're in complete comfort mode and you touch a paddle shifter, it responds pretty quickly. I mean, the car is, it's alert. It's waiting for you to make a move. And then when you downshift, fart. It's just so satisfying using these paddle shifters. I mean, the whole soundtrack, like the feeling, how it wakes up the car, it's really cool. Performance is overall great. It might not be the fastest car in the segment, but it is the easiest one to drive. Once you gun it, it feels explosively fast. It's like it goes from calm to completely insane really quickly. But the car feels like it's doing a lot for you. It's helping you. Torque vectoring control kicks in the corners. The steering always feels very light. It's not a very communicative system here, but it is accurate. I mean, turn in translates to an immediate point. So I have no complaints in terms of how the car works. The seat supports the body very well. The driving position is awesome. I mean, this car is probably really easy to drive around a track. It's very forgiving, but it's not without its flaws. The engine is a real gem. Half of the Porsches you can buy today use the same engine, so that tells you everything you need to know. In terms of fuel economy, well, this car has been averaging 12.8 liters per 100 kilometers. And to be honest, I know the owner pretty well. He doesn't have a light foot. So that's very decent fuel economy for what this car is and how it's been driven. That's pretty good, actually. Now let's talk business, because this is an RS5. It's supposed to be driven hard. And let's start with a Quattro system. So the Quattro system is quick to respond in terms of understanding where it needs to send the torque as you're turning hard. I did notice there is a little bit of sudden. It's a sudden shift between it allowing you to kick the tail out, but then it sends more power to the front. So it always wants to self-correct, and you have to be ready to catch that self-correction. Even when you completely disable the stability control, which is, I think, never completely off, because I did feel some interference, the car does help the experienced driver reach limits and go beyond them. It's just, it always plays it safe. It doesn't let you go completely mental, which I think a Mercedes, any AMG Mercedes or any M BMW give you completely the freedom to do whatever you want, even if that's completely idiotic. This one, it likes to have a safeguard on you. When you push it hard into the corners, the default tendency is understeer. However, if you weight shift it a bit, it will very happily give you a little bit of oversteer, but just a little bit for a limited amount of time. As you hit your apex and you gun it and you go back into the power to exit the corner, it immediately shifts the power to the front, it self-corrects, it takes away the exit fun. I mean, in an M3, like a rear-wheel drive car, or even an X-Drive tuned to send more power to the back, you can continue that little power slide exiting the corner. In this one, not really. The 5-link front and rear suspension in dynamic mode feels like the rebound is a little bit too hard. Like the car settles over the bump, but then it kind of shoots upwards. And that's kind of not very good, because when you're at speed, if you hit a bump, it really unsettles the car. It makes the car jump around, and that's not very good for stability. I mean, it's not bad, but it could have been better. The thing is, when you put it in comfort mode, it's perfect. So it almost feels like comfort mode is the correct sport mode. You have the individual mode, which is perfect to set everything to sport except the suspension. And then the car feels absolutely magnificent. In comfort mode, honestly, around town, the suspension soaks up bumps really well. It's kind of quiet when it does that. There's not a lot of noise and thumps coming from the suspension. The seat is also very comfortable despite being very supportive. I have to say, as a city commuter or like a relaxed long distance cruiser, this car does an excellent job. So as a GT car, scores full points. For those of you that are completely hardcore, well, the subframe in the rear is mounted with flexible bushings, so that's not exactly race technology, so maybe it could be a source of the problem. On the go, I have no complaints in terms of aerodynamic noises. Road noise is also very well suppressed. However, because this is a Sportback, there is some noise coming from back there. This car is 2 years old, so let's see how the interior is holding up. Well, first of all, build quality is solid on the top, so the materials feel very good to the touch. They're nice and soft. Fit and finish is pretty good. However, when you press certain spots, there are some rattles. And there's some rattles coming from the steering column on the go, which is very annoying. And I noticed that when someone is not sitting in the passenger seat, the seat itself, like on the highway, there's some rattles coming from the seat. Also, there's some noises coming from the back. Overall, I have to say, I'm not very impressed with how solid the cabin feels on the go. Like, there are noises that are coming from certain places, and I'm pretty sure that on a Porsche, that would never happen, which is like same family. But most importantly, on competition cars, like the BMW M whatever, even regular 3 Series actually, C43 and C63 AMG Mercedes wouldn't do that. Although the Mercedes do crack and they creak and whatever when you touch them. So I have to say that initial build quality, like when you look at it and when you touch and you feel, the materials are really nice. Like this one also has the carbon fiber package, which makes it really good. It has leather stitching, like wherever it can. It has suede. It looks very nice. However, when you're driving it, there's sounds that are coming from places that I don't like. So I think that is where it starts to lose to, for example, BMW. And also, like down here, the plastics could have been a little bit better. I mean, seriously. The steering wheel itself is very nice to hold on to. However, I would have changed the bottom and the top to a non-perforated leather, because like this, it just seems like it has some kind of pimple infested disease. It's like too much. The design overall is pretty simplistic. I really like how this dash looks. I love the digital instrument cluster, and you can customize it and you have different kind of views. I like the power and torque. I really like everything. Even this now old infotainment system, I think works pretty well. Everything is within reach. The volume knob is on this side, which I don't mind at all. Everything is pretty nice in here. It's a very nice car to be in, and I love the quilted seats. Like this pattern here behind the seat, I really like it a lot. In terms of technology, this car has a killer Bang & Olufsen sound system. It has blind spot monitors, adaptive cruise control, and that's pretty much everything you need in a car like this, because this car is meant to be driven, so there's no fancy takeover stuff. I mean, there is, just don't option it. Save your money. Drive the car by yourself. And did I mention that the seat also has a massage? It's actually pretty good. Oh yeah, right there. Roominess is surprisingly good, even though the exterior shape with a sloping roof looks like you're going to be paying some penalties. Well, you're not. Up front, you have plenty of room. The rear seats have good legroom and very decent headroom. The problem is the tunnel in the middle is very, very intrusive to the cabin. So a third person right in the middle will have a hard time sitting. And also, somebody moving from the left side to the right side will have a very hard time moving his feet across. The trunk is also pretty big. It opens really wide, and it has a nice net on the bottom so you can hold down stuff so they don't move around when you drive. Very good stuff. So in terms of competition, this RS5 sits in a very weird space in the market, because in the Sportback version of it, the RS5 doesn't have a competitor like bang on. I mean, if you make it an S5 Sportback, then you have a Kia Stinger GT, you have the BMW 440 Grand Coupe, maybe a Cadillac CT5V, but that's pretty much it. Now, if you make it an RS5 Coupe, you have the BMW M4, you have the C63 AMG S, the Mercedes. You have a few more options right there. Actually, the Giulia Quadrifoglio could be a competitor to the Sportback, even though it's a sedan. So that would be another option, though. Nevertheless, in the RS5 Sportback, it feels like Audi just nailed it, because there's nothing else really there. It's something similar to what Mercedes has done with the CLS, which is same idea, just much bigger and much more expensive. Anyway, that's all for today, and the 2019 Audi RS5 Sportback. I mean, if you want a very practical, gorgeous to look at, well-built, fast, 4-door coupe, well, it kind of looks like this is like the only thing you can get. And actually, whoever buys this car will not be disappointed. It is kick-ass. Prices in Canada start at $87,400. This car, as tested, is about $104,000. It is worth its money though, because it's a gorgeous and very well thought through car. Hope you liked this video. If you did, thumbs up. If you didn't, just watch something else. But till next time, be well.
Perfect.